Drink juice from the sweetest berries and dance the night away. Count stars in the sky while the clouds roll by. Smoke flowers just to elevate. Hold hands when we need protection. Break bones but we always mend them. Every heartbreak is a lesson. Let it go, don't be afraid. Find my love, don't lose it. Kiss my tears with music. Find my love, don't lose it. Lay in the dark, but
Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Hope you're doing so very well. Today I have the start of my magical readathon vlog, and can I just say I feel like I'm killing it already. I had previously been in a slump in February, got out of it in March, so going into a readathon I was a little hesitant in case it would put me back in a slump, but it's actually done the opposite and made reading fun. I feel like I'm getting through books and really enjoying them. So I have 2 books to update you on already, because I didn't vlog while I was reading them because I just wanted to read. Like, I didn't want to have to vlog as I was reading them. I thought I would just read them and then come and tell you my thoughts, because I read Gallant by V.E. Schwab and I read this in a day, and I literally lazed about, done nothing, and just ate my weight in junk food and read this book. I absolutely adored this. I gave it a 4.5 stars. In this book we follow Olivia Pryor, who is an orphan, and she is at the Merciless School for Independent Girls. Instead of schooling for education, they're schooling for jobs in the real world, and it's kind of practical things like cooking, cleaning, sewing, all that. And Olivia is mute, so she is the target of some bullies, which is unfortunate. The only thing Olivia has to hold on to is her mother's journal, but her mother's journal slowly descends into madness, saying that Olivia will be safe if she stays away from Gallant. Then a mysterious letter shows up from her long-lost uncle inviting her to Gallant, and of course Olivia goes because she has no real choice, because the nuns at the Merciless School for Independent Girls kind of like just tell her to go and pack a bag, and they order a car, so she has to go, like, no matter what. When she shows up though, there is a little bit of strife happening because no one knows who invited her. No one knows why she's there. She just showed up on the doorstep, and this is where the story takes off. She shows up at this estate called Gallant, and supposedly it is her family's estate. So that is where the story kicks off, and can I just say, this book was so well done. I love V.E. Schwab's writing. I don't think there will ever be a time that I don't love Schwab's writing. I think they work magic with words, and I am totally under their spell, and I have just the biggest love and, what is the word I'm looking for? Not envy, but like, if I could spin a story like this, I would be happy with my days. That's what I'm trying to say. And I really enjoyed this. I think the story was the perfect amount of creepiness for what it was. We follow Olivia as she tries to understand more of her mum and her family, and everything gets a bit muddled because obviously this is not a normal family estate and things get really creepy. I'm going to go into mild spoilers here, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then wait until the spoiler warning is off the screen. This book is full of different kind of plot points. We have Gallant and the whole mystery surrounding this estate, and then we have Olivia and the family she doesn't really have. No one knows why she turned up there, but she does have a cousin named Matthew who point blank refuses to invite her in and wants her gone as soon as possible. Then we have Thomas and Hannah, who are the kind of keepers of the house. They help Matthew keep this estate, and slowly we start to understand that the Pryors are the ones that have to stop the dark side of Galen seeping through the gates and destroying the world, essentially. And Matthew is slowly going into madness as well, because he is the keeper of the gate at the moment. So Olivia kind of starts understanding this as we go through, which I liked. I liked that we found out what was happening as Olivia was finding out what was happening. The thing is like, I felt like it was the perfect amount of creepy and it was the perfect amount of mystery, but I felt like I wanted more of the dark side of Galen. I felt you built up this whole story to revolve around Galen having a shadow side, and we didn't get much time in the shadow side. I wish we had more time to kind of like understand why the headmaster of the house of the shadow side of Galen was the headmaster, and how him and his four shadows like worked. I just wanted more time in Galen, essentially. That is the only reason that I knocked off half a star, is because I wanted more time in the dark side. But also throughout this book, it's kind of romantic in a sense, because Olivia's mum and dad, so Olivia's mum is obviously a prior, so she lived in the Galen estate, but she had a romance with one of the shadows of the headmaster, and they used to converse through her journal, and she would write things to Olivia's dad and the shadow would draw pictures back. And like, once you figure this out, you start looking at the journal entries and the pictures and seeing a story unfold there too, which was so well done, and I loved that part of it. Like, I didn't think there would be any kind of romance in this, but that part just seemed so romantic to me. Also, we get Olivia going over to the dark side of Galen, the shadow side, and I wish that happened sooner, so we got more of the dark side of Galen and more of the headmaster. But when it did happen, things really kicked up, and we had to kind of see what would happen, because Matthew's brother was stuck on that side of Galen, and Olivia decides that she could try and save him. But in doing this, Matthew dies, and then Olivia Pryor becomes the keeper of the gate. This book was so well done. I love V. Schwab's writing. I loved the little romantic touch throughout it. Hannah and Thomas were together and they had a romance, and then Olivia's mum and dad, their romance told through journal entries and pictures was so cute. And then obviously this book was hella creepy. Like, it wasn't like scary, but it definitely gave you the creepy crawly feels, and I really enjoyed that. This was a 4.5 star book. I read it in a day. I had so much fun with it, and I cannot wait to pick up another Schwab book, because I will probably give that above a 4 stars again, because I have not gave a Schwab book lower than a 4 star. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. Highly recommend it. It's quick, easy, and creepy, so if you're into that, then I highly recommend picking this up. The next book I ended up reading was She and I by Hannah King, and this was my buddy read with Sephi over at What Effie Reads. They will be linked down below. I gave this a 4 star. I really enjoyed this. This was highly anticipated because I got it at the Granite Noir event, and I got it signed and personalized to one of the characters. And can I just say, I feel like with one question, this author figured me and Sephi out really quickly. I think that my dedication was totally on point as I read this book, which gave this book a much deeper meaning. So in this book, we follow Jude and Keely, and they're best friends. They share everything, and they have done for essentially their whole lives. But one morning, they wake up after a party, and Keely's boyfriend is dead. And the next thing they share is the story that they're going to tell the police. And can I just say, this was done really well. I will definitely be keeping an eye out on this author. I think that there was a few things I didn't like, but I overall really enjoyed the story of this. One of the main highlights of this story for me was Jude and Keely's relationship. It was simultaneously super cute and relatable and lovely, while also being really creepy and obsession worthy, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was done so well. This book is told in multiple perspectives, which I was not expecting as I read this. I was expecting it to be maybe Jude and Keely's perspective, but we also got like Keely's big brother and the detective and Jude's mum. So there was a few other points of view that I wasn't really expecting to be in here, but I do understand why they were in here as I read on. I think one of my biggest grievances was the confusion when the girls are first interviewed. They're interviewed by a detective called O'Leary, and then we get the actual inspector detective that is going to take over the case as someone completely different. I understand why this was done as I read on, but I feel like it didn't need to be done like that. I had to flip between two chapters and see if I was missing something, because it felt like we had a detective set up in the first couple of chapters, and then we changed to actually having a detective's point of view that was nothing to do with the original scene. I feel like that could have maybe been changed. And apart from that and some of the slight comments in here that rubbed me the wrong way, there was a few comments that could come across as fatphobic, and there was some that I just didn't enjoy. Some comments I didn't enjoy. I just feel like they could have been done differently. But apart from that, I really enjoyed this. This was a really interesting mystery story that completely took me by surprise, and I was worried because for the first 50 pages I was like, oh no, am I gonna like this? I hope I do. I ended up really liking it, and it came out of 4 stars. Spoilers are going to be said here, so wait until the spoiler warning is off screen and I will not spoil you, essentially. Obviously, we follow Jude and Keely and how they kind of lie for each other and are there for each other, and then we have Jude's mum, Linda, who doesn't like Keely in the slightest. Like, she hates Keely, and it comes across so well in this book, and this adds like an extra layer of mystery because Keely isn't a bad kid. She just had a bad start, and with love and nurture she could definitely be someone and do things with her life, and I think Linda just didn't give her a chance, and I hated Linda in this book. Linda was like a mum that neglected Jude over her other child, Mason, but it was in such a sly way that you didn't really understand how bad it went until Jude started acting out, and then you thought, oh well, it's because your mum is kind of like forcing you not to be friends with your best friend and forcing you to be this perfect daughter, but at the same time not giving you the attention and nurture that she gives her other child. I hated Linda. I hated Linda so bad. Like, I hated Linda more than the killer in this book. That's how much I hated Linda. But overall, like, this was interesting. I did know that Jude was the killer about the halfway point. There was some things that I guessed. So, like, the awkwardness between the victim, Pete, which is Keely's boyfriend, and Jude, I thought they had maybe done something and that's why they were really awkward with each other. It turns out that Pete tried to sexually assault Jude, which I didn't think that way, but I kind of knew something was up between them two, and that's why Jude didn't really like Pete and didn't want to be around him. And with Keely kind of pushing the subject, it felt really off. But even then, I just think that even though I guessed a few things and I knew Jude was the killer fairly early on, it still surprised me because there was things that I didn't quite guess, and there was things that came out like Jude being bullied and Keely not having a clue until the end, and Jude being slightly more aggressive than people realize. She might be quiet, and Keely is like the confident, loud, rambunctious one, and Jude is the quieter friend. And I feel like with Jude slowly going through this book with her point of view, you got kind of the inner turmoil she was going through between the bullying and holding Keely in such high regard and the situation with Pete. Obviously something was going to happen, and I really enjoyed this. I just think it was really well done. And the only thing that I will say is the ending. So Mark, Keely's big brother, ends up taking the rap for Jude. So Jude doesn't even go to like prison or anything. She doesn't get charged with the murder, and her and Keely end up living together for a while until Jude gets accepted into a college. And I feel like this was what was kind of weird to me, because it felt weird, because I understand why Jude killed Pete, because he sexually assaulted her and then tried to sexually assault Keely, and that is why Jude ended up killing him. So like it felt kind of like not justice, because it's never right to kill anyone, but in a fictional world it felt like justice in a way. But at the same time, I felt like the real justice would have been Pete maybe not dying for what he did, but Pete like going to jail and Jude not being a murderer. But in this circumstance, I feel like Jude killed Pete because of the horrible things he'd done or tried to do. I felt like I still needed some closure and justice for Jude. Like, she can't just go on and live her life and like not have anything done even though she killed someone. Like, it's so weird, but it works. The only thing I wish that was left out was Mac didn't take the blame for it, because I felt so bad that he did. Like, he was an alright guy. The only thing that really pissed me off was him and his girlfriend talked her out of going to the police about the sexual assault because there was a lot of drugs in the premises and they didn't want to get caught with it. And I was like, really? This is your friend? You've known her since she was a girl. Like, just get rid of the drugs and then phone the police. You know, like, you could have, there's so many other actions that they could have took that probably would have resulted in Pete not being dead. But overall, I think that Mark taking the fall just felt like meh, like gimmicky. Like, no, I didn't want Mark to take the fall. I get that he's cleaned up, he's no longer like a drug addict, and this was his self-inflicted guilt making him take the fall so that he could apologize to Jude in a sense. But yeah, I think I would have just enjoyed it more if either Jude got justice. Like, I think I would have enjoyed it more if Jude actually was like descended into quite a nasty person. I think that would have been interesting, because like, would Keely stick by her best friend if her best friend didn't care about killing someone and didn't care about hurting anyone? Like, would they still be best friends? And also, I think that it would have been really interesting to see Linda like totally lose her shit when Jude was like done for murder. But overall, I really enjoyed this book. It was a very interesting read. I will definitely pick up more from this author. I highly recommend you pick this up and tell me what you think, because overall this was interesting, and even if some of the things were predictable, it still had that like feeling throughout, and the relationships were all really well done. So if you're looking for a fast-paced mystery thriller with great friendships, like they're written so well, great characters, then I highly suggest picking this up, because this was a winner for me. I will come back once I have read some more and tell you how I'm doing, but so far I'm not mad at my progress for the magical readathon, and I'm having so much fun, and I love this readathon. So yeah, I will see you once I have read some more. So a little impromptu tattoo appointment came up today, and I decided to take it. So I'm gonna go get myself a tattoo, and this has been one I've been wanting for like 5 years, but I obviously COVID and everything, I couldn't necessarily get them. Um, but it is going to be a Akatar themed tattoo, and I've wanted it since I first read the series. So now I'm finally going to be able to go get it. I'm so nervous, but I'm so excited at the same time. It's been about 5 years since I got my last tattoo, so Wish me luck, and I will check back in once I have a new tattoo. I am back because I finished another book for the Magical Readathon. I reread My Sister the Serial Killer by Kane Braithwaite, and I gave this a 4 stars upon reread. This was such a different experience reading it physically, because the first time I read this, I listened to it on audiobook, and I just had a completely different experience with the two formats. It still came out of 4 stars, it's still a very enjoyable book, but I feel like I connected more with the book than with the audiobook, and I think I had more enjoyment as I reread this physically. I also think I probably enjoyed it more because I went to the Granite Noir event and heard this author talk about their writing and process and also this book, so it gave it like an extra meaning the second time around. I really enjoyed this. This is a fast-paced like psychological thriller. It follows 2 sisters. One of them has a habit of dispatching her boyfriends, and the other one has a habit of cleaning up after her, and it follows the dynamics of friendship, family, relationship, loyalties, how far you would go for someone you love. In this book, even though it deals with death and murder, it also has a deeper meaning of loyalty and protection, and I just think it's a really fast, great read, and I will definitely pick up more from this author. And this also knocks off the prompt restoration, which is featuring healers, because even though this deals with death and murder, one of the sisters is actually a nurse, and in my mind that is a healer. So, well, it is a healer. Like, even though they clean up death and murder, they still heal and help people. So I'm totally counting this, because nurses are the healers of our world, and I have so much respect and gratitude for them. So this is what I'm counting for restoration. Also, before I went to bed last night, I ended up reading Breaking the Bully by Jess, Kane. This is a short story based around a girl who is having a hard life at home and no one really knows. She is rich and seems to have it all, whereas her love interest more is on the poorer side and has to work for everything he has. One day they meet in the middle of a storm and have a moment, and then they stop talking to each other and Moore becomes a bully. This was a lot more hard hitting than I expected it to be. I actually really enjoyed this. I gave it a 4 stars. I think that the author done a great job of creating these characters and this kind of romance in such a short period, because it's only like 64 pages. I actually plan on reading more of this author's work today, because the last prompt I have left is Elemental Studies, and it is a book under 100 pages. And I really enjoyed this short story by this author, so I think I'm going to give another one a go, and it knocks off this prompt, which means that I will have completed my call-in. And the only thing I have left to do after that is to complete my call-in specific quest, because I managed to get a Moon Warden quest on the Discord. I managed to claim one of the limited spots ones, and I'm so excited. The prompt is to read a book with a moon on the cover or a moon in the title. So I haven't quite decided what I'm going to read for this yet, but my plan today is to read another Jess Kane book, and that will be my call-in completed, and I will officially be on my way to be a Moon Warden, which I'm so excited about. And then I will decide later on what my moon book is going to be, which will then build up my guild points. And I'm having so much fun with this readathon. The Discord is hilarious, I love it, and I'm just like enjoying reading all these like different things. So I will check back in hopefully later tonight and tell you how I'm getting on. Hopefully I will come back in and my Moon Warden call-in will be completed, and I will only have the quest call-in left to accomplish, and I will be done with the Magical Readathon. And it's not even halfway through April yet. It's getting there. It's so close. I've got a couple of days. But if I can complete my call-in and my like extra quest, in like half a month, I'm going to be so proud of myself. And then it means that if any other quests come out later on in the month, I can just take part in them when I want and build my guild points up. But I will come back in and check in once I have read another Jess Kane novella short story and tell you my thoughts. Hey, I'm back because I need to wrap up this vlog before the end of the month. This actually has to go up today, so I have to like do some editing magic and hopefully get this up the day I finish recording it. So for the last prompt of the magical readathon I had was Elemental Studies, I believe, and for this I read The Loner's Lady by Jess Kane. This was a 2-star read. I did not enjoy this. This follows a young girl who's best friends with a boy, and they go and visit his strict army father, and he's kind of a recluse, so when they go there they pretend to be boyfriend and girlfriend because the friend, I've forgotten his name, doesn't want his father to know that he is gay, so he's taken his friend along to make this ruse up that he has a girlfriend. And immediately after like page 5, the friend that he takes along, the girl, I've forgotten her name too, I remember no names from this book because it was shit. She instantly falls in love with his dad and is like, oh my god, he's my world, and like the dad is like, oh my god, I'd die without her, and it was just too much. It was just too much. I don't like it. It wasn't for me. Like, if you're into insta love, and I will say the sexy scenes were well written, if you're into insta love and completely like, I will kill for her, I will die for him, this might be for you. It just wasn't for me. Also, there's been an odd emphasis on the 2 Jess Kane books that I've read that are like, the girls are virgins. It just feels like there's been an odd emphasis on this fact. In Breaking the Bully, it made sense because the girl was young and she had an abusive father who didn't let her do anything, so she wouldn't really have much opportunity to hang about and not be a virgin. Whereas in The Lady's Loner, The Loner's Lady, I get this title fucked up so many times, there was this emphasis on that she was a virgin because she was assaulted, or there was an attempt of an assault, and I just feel like this was used as a reason behind why she was a virgin. Like, you can have an adult virgin, there doesn't need to be a reason for it. There especially doesn't need to be a reason that's like this for it. Like, I feel like this was only added in to make it believable that she would be a virgin at this age. It didn't really have any other like point to the story, and I just think that there, you can be a virgin and be an adult at the same time. There doesn't need to be a valid reason, like, unless like, there doesn't need to be a valid reason as long as like you're happy. Then I just didn't like this book. It just wasn't for me, unfortunately. But I do plan on continuing reading more from this author because they're short stories and I did really enjoy Breaking the Bully, so I'll maybe have to taste more of their work to see if I can like continue on. There's obviously going to be hits and misses. These are short stories, novellas, so it might be a little difficult to judge off of just 2 books. But yeah, I didn't like this one. The last book that I've read for this readathon was, I managed to snag one of the limited quests for us Moon Wardens, and now that I'm an official Moon Warden, I decided to try and get one of these quests. I did end up getting it, and the prompt was to read a book with a moon on the cover or title, and for this I went with the Night Ghoul because it was quick and easy, because it was a comic on Kindle Unlimited, and I will say I did enjoy the artwork and the story. In this, we follow a father and son, and they find a movie called The Night Ghoul. They decide to track down the writer and director. He is currently in a mental health institution, and when they get there, he's like, you can't leave now. They know you know, like, now you've watched the film, the ghoul is like gonna come after you. You get flashbacks to the director's real experience in the army when he first met the ghoul, and this was really good. The artwork was good, the storyline was good. I'm not going to continue it, and there is one specific reason why I'm not. The ghoul looks too much like a spider, and I have the biggest phobia of spiders ever. Like, I will cry like a little bitch. I don't care. I will be a baby if a spider comes near me. So, like, to read something about a spider is creepy, but like to see something like in a comic that resembles a spider, it freaks me out too much. Like, if you're looking for something spooky with good artwork and a good storyline, then you should check this out, definitely. I did give it a 4 stars. The only reason I'm not continuing is because I know I'm not going to enjoy the rest of the series when the Night Ghoul starts to get drawn in more, because it looks like a spider. There's no point putting myself through that trauma. I'm just not doing it. But it is good, and I am sad that I'm not going to continue it, but I'm just not doing it to myself, because I will not sleep at night. Like, I can handle scare. The only thing I don't like in my scare books is spiders. So yeah, I just can't do this. So that is it. That is everything that I've read for the Magical Readathon. I managed to complete my Moon Warden career status and, well, complete my exam status. I don't know what the right wording is for this, but I managed to complete all of the prompts to become a Moon Warden. I also managed to complete one of the side quests, which was limited, to get my guild points up, and I had so much fun participating. And all I want to say is a huge thank you to G over at Book Roast for being the host and the creator of this amazing readathon. So much work gets put into this, and I am just in awe of the, like, all of the artwork and the stories and all of the work in general put into this readathon is truly inspiring and amazing. So a big thank you to G, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you read for this readathon, if you read any of the books that I read, what your career or chosen path was. Let me know. Did you complete it? And that is all. Thank you so very much for watching again. I hope you have a great day, great week, great weekend whenever you're watching this. Remember to stay safe, happy and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.